right this early morning, but it's 3:15. Yes, 3:15. I can't sleep, and when I can't sleep, I just might as well do the news. Might as well use your time in productive ways. I find this to be a productive endeavor. So let's do the news. In the news, more so on news, if you want to call Rachel Maddow news at this point, how far they have fallen and how fast after Trump took office. But Rachel Maddow, she has a Maddow blog. And on Twitter, it's active on Twitter. So this Maddow blog comes out and hits RT. And it makes the point that, derisively, that RT is analyzing the Mueller report. And essentially is like death by algorithm. Like, how dare RT analyze the Mueller report? I mean, that's, how dare they? So you've had a lot of good people on RT. Chris Hedges on RT. I don't think these guys are plants. I guess my point is this. Rick Sanchez. I like Rick Sanchez. There's a few. RT does good work. I mean, Garland Nixon, all of these guys. He's not on RT, but you get my point. The Russian stations. All shows have their biases, so fair enough. But to attack them in a derisive way about some kind of propaganda stuff, like how dare RT analyze this, and how dare Twitter give this up as a viable option to view. This should be blacklisted and banned. This is utter nonsense. Coming from the Rachel Maddow show. Seeing as she's been peddling conspiracy theories for the last 3 years. I guess the point is, Maddow, particularly going by the last 3 years, doesn't have a leg to stand on and pointing to some other channel as in some kind of purveyor of conspiracy. I've said on more than one occasion, if Aaron Matei is walking down the street, walk the other way. Bow your head, walk the other way. And in this case, apparently he's been hanging out in back alleys and dumpsters, stalking Rachel Maddow. And he heard her or saw her say this, and he went on this epic Twitter rant where he's going show by show by show. Last I've seen, he was over 20 shows where he would give an analysis and attached to show, analysis attached to shows, like a blurb, showing how in that particular show, she was peddling a conspiracy theory. You get his point. You've been peddling conspiracy theories for 3 years. How are you attacking another channel as if these guys are, peddling nonsense? You don't have a leg to stand on. It's so many of these. I may show 3 of them, and I'll go through some of the the blurbs that he's putting on the videos. So let's check this out. I haven't seen all of these. I've only seen some of these. But right here, it starts here. Death by algorithm. YouTube recommended Russia Today for understanding the Mueller report. They're shocked by this. Death by algorithm. You have all sorts of people on RT. Aaron Matei himself was on RT. So I would imagine he may have took this a particular way. He wasn't just on RT. He was on all sorts of channels. Jibidor, RT, some other channel called Prima, something. He's been all over the place, except for my channel. I'm not bitter at all. I'm not bitter in the least. You know what? Nobody ever admits to being bitter. Maybe I'm going to be the first person to admit to being bitter. Maybe I am a little bitter about it. I had a conversation with Matei. Now, it's one thing if I've never had a situation where I willfully and intentionally multiple times not shown up for interviews without giving a heads up or without letting the person know. And he has done that like 4 times, like back to back to back. The last time I was like, dude, it was like, I know you've gotten big off the Russia stuff, but you're not that big. Like, ultimately, it's, there's a certain degree of respect that you show to anybody who you're showing interviews for. It was lacking in this case. All right, but nevertheless, being a bit of a dick doesn't mean you can't be an awesome journalist. And that he is. So let's start here, right here. And let's blow this up. If YouTube were to recommend your show, it'd be recommending the leading purveyor of now debunked Trump-Russia conspiracy theories, falsehoods, and innuendo of the last 2+ years. Here's a sample. Now, this is more than just a sample. This is damn near meal size. So, right here. Just recently, you were caught in real time lying to your audience. Now, I did this video, and he's right about this. So, take a look at this. Take a look at this.
And you'd assume they'd be able to do that for this document, too. But William Barr says...
Wait. Take a look at this. What's wrong with this picture? Beyond Rachel Maddow on it. Come on. What the hell just happened?
Leave the newly appointed 68-year-old Attorney General William Barr.
All right. This is after the Mueller report was released. Listen to this.
To himself personally pick through the report to try to figure out what mentions in this 400-page report might pertain to open cases. They wouldn't leave that to Barr to do that. Mueller would have done that. Mueller's team would have done that as part of producing anything that they handed over outside their own offices. They've done that with every other document they have produced in the course of this investigation. You'd assume they'd be able to do that for this document too. But William Barr says, it's taken him a really long time because he's having to do all that himself.
All right, let's hear that one more time and look at the bottom of the screen. She's saying that Barr, or Mueller, wouldn't leave Barr to do all of this work by himself. Like, she's trying to make the point that there's something wrong here. Something smells. This isn't right. There's some cover up here that's taking place. Let's start over. But look at the bottom of the screen. This is the part that's wild. If this would ever show, come on. You can do it. There we go. Come on.
This is a thing that Mueller's team does in its sleep.
At the bottom, special counsel is assisting with redactions. Now, Rachel Maddow is saying, special counsel wouldn't have let William Barr, the 64-year-old or however old he is, William Barr, do this by himself. It's like there's something smells here. There's something wrong. And then at the bottom, somebody had an honest bone in their body and said, special counsel is assisting with redactions. Faceplant fact check by your own staff. That's brutal, man. That's utterly brutal. Let's look at this one. There was a time in January when you speculated that Vladimir Putin may use a PP tape and other compromising to force Trump into withdrawing U.S. troops near Russia. How did that one turn out? By the way, just last week you falsely said the one thing that I refused to let myself think about was that Putin had tapes of Donald Trump, the very prospect you had previously floated in the posit that Putin may blackmail Trump to withhold troops. So essentially, the thing that you said you never did in this video was the thing that you did in this video. All right, so let's hear it. That's a short clip.
If Russia maybe has something, the outgoing president is very quietly leaving thousands of U.S. troops on Russia's doorstep on his way out the door. And here's the question. Is the new president going to take those troops out? After all the speculation, after all the worry, we are actually about to find out if Russia maybe has something on the new president. We're about to find out if the new president of our country is going to do what Russia wants once he's commander-in-chief of the U.S. military starting noon on Friday. What is he going to do with those deployments? Watch this space.
He didn't do anything with the deployments. He stopped funding terrorists. So he stopped that Obama program that was being run out of the CIA going back to 2010. But the deployments are still there. Still there. Not to mention the other military engagements. All right, so let's hear this one.
That I refuse to let... The one thing I refused to let myself think about was the prospect of incriminating salacious tapes Or Trump being warned that there were incriminating, salacious tapes of him in Russia, tapes that Russia could let out into the world, but they were stopping that from happening. I mean, that's the one part of this whole ridiculous D-grade movie we have been living through that I refuse to let sit in my brain when thinking about this president and this scandal and Russia messing with our election to benefit him.
But she did do that. You know, that's the thing with the video, with being online, man. The moment that you're like doing videos or podcasts or something like that, all of your flaws and fuck ups and failures are right there. And you are consciously aware of each and every one of them. The audience may not necessarily be, but you are absolutely and completely aware of each word that you fucked up, each that you've added, all of these things. And everything that you said that was wrong, that comes back to haunt you later on, essentially being a hypocrite. Here's the other one. I remember this one. Do you remember where there were 50 degrees below zero? Like the temperatures were obscene. And Rachel Maddow comes out and does a show saying Russia could hack the power grid and put all of these people, get rid of all of the energy. In this case, meaning all of these people would be in the cold. What would happen? He was like, could you imagine that? Like she was saying this type of stuff in these videos.
Here's the director of national intelligence telling us all in unclassified form, in black and white, China and Russia can do this today, now, whenever they want to. In other words, we're relying on their good graces that they're not. And it is like negative 50 degrees in the Dakotas right now.
There's 20-something more of these. Rachel Maddow has spent, Russia has been her lifeblood for the last 3 years. And Maddow has a ton of material to use. And I suspect that if he wanted to, he could probably go day by day, adding another video that Rachel Maddow has done on Russia, on something that's been innuendo or something that's just been proven wrong. I'm going to attach the link so you can see it for yourself and go through them if you want. I think these are hilarious, more so in his commentary. Here's another one. How about when you suggested that Putin got Trump to bleed out the FBI? If Mueller and the FBI found proof of that, I missed the part in their report. Here it is. Bleed out the FBI. Here's another one. How about the time when you speculated that Putin installed Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State? How about when you claimed that the White House edited out a key question from the Trump-Putin presser? The Washington Post showed that to be false and the result of the live video audio switching issue. Yet, you never corrected it. There are 20-something of these. Look at that. One failure after the next. 24 and there's more loading. Wow. That's brutal, man. I don't know what got into his craw, but whatever it was, God bless you, sir. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Let's see. Cool Blue. Aaron Matei is great. I sent his The Nation report on the Mueller report to a progressive who told me the nation has been on the side of Russia. Oh, geez. Gardno. Thanks, Garden. I don't think they were on the side of Russia. You can have contrary opinions that doesn't, and even this notion of side is nonsense. Look, the only side I really want to be on is what's honest, what's true, what's right. And I know that's murky, so don't misunderstand me. And to some degree, that goes to a certain degree of a principle. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the thing you want to see in the outer world? But that's a little bit more so than, this other stuff. Let's see. Why did Jamarl just disappear like a ghost? I didn't disappear like a ghost. I read some portions that got bored. All right. But yeah, Rachel Maddow taken down by Aaron Matei. Fucking hilarious. So, but yeah, Aaron Matei is a really good journalist. He's badass. and his coverage of the Mueller report was like bar none. Cool Blue, Rachel Maddow is a propagandist. Her employer is Comcast, all Russiagate pushers. The media, not just Rachel Maddow, are owned. Their job is to deliver. Well, I mean, look, I don't know if it's somewhat of a divided loyalties issue, right? I mean, she's part of the Democratic establishment. MSNBC got rid of Ed Schultz because Ed Schultz was trying to cover Sanders. At least that's what Ed Schultz says. I don't necessarily know why Ed Schultz will lie about it. And so these guys are connected to a Democratic Party structure in the same way that Fox News is connected to a Republican structure. I guess my point is this. Hillary Clinton lost, and it shocked the shit out of the country as a whole, but rattled the Democratic Party establishment. I mean, you talk about a blow to any level of legitimacy to kind of centrist politicians. They lost to a fucking maniac. The guys are reality shows. And so they sought ways to try to appease that failure. And Rachel Maddow, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton comes out with the Russia stuff and they run with it. I mean, it's not plausible, but it's easy on the ears of the American audience. You have Democrats who are trying to figure out how the hell did the person who they were told had a 90% chance of winning the race lose. The Russians. It was the goddamn commies. That was, that's the thought. That's the push behind this stuff. With the other political gains of an assault on the presidency itself, you realize that if Mueller would have came back with anything other than what he came back with, it would have been Donald Trump's head. Even if it was the faintest bit of evidence, it would have been Donald Trump's head. I'm trying to get a point across. This was somewhat of a coup attempt using the FBI to do something that they couldn't do at the ballot box. So now they still ran with it. Mueller comes back and says there's nothing. And you still have Democrats digging as furiously as they could possibly dig for something that doesn't exist. It's utterly bizarre. And now they're trying to say there's a cover-up at the FBI because Barr didn't come back with what they wanted. I mean, not the FBI, the Department of Justice, because Barr didn't come back with the answer that they wanted. So, yeah, it's utterly bizarre. But I guess my point is this. It's hard to know whether that's a Comcast thing or whether that's a political loyalties thing. I got to be honest. I think the political loyalties thing probably rings truer. She's a Democrat. Think of how, fervent the Democrats have been with the Russia stuff in order to appease their own failures. She, being one of the people who's a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party, yeah, of course, that's what she's going to push. She's doing her job. As much as Sean Hannity was doing his job attacking Barack Obama, she's doing her job attacking Donald Trump. Because that's my point. These are two sides of the same coin, cut for different audiences. There are slight differences in what brings people to the trough, meaning the liberal audience is a little brighter, meaning in regards to the understanding of and brighter is the wrong word for it. They tend to, I'm going to say that. They tend to be a little bit brighter, at least in regards to the way they, at least from my perspective, and the way that they accrue information. But I don't know if that's fair. Is that fair? Well, whatever. Just say it this way. It's cut for two different audiences, even though there's slight variances in what brings them to the trough. I always said Obama was essentially, Trump is hope and change for Republicans, if that makes sense. It's like they have different interests. These guys, immigration, border security, that type of stuff. And these other guys want climate change and that type of stuff. But for the most part, we're showing them shows that give them what they want in this regards. And we can keep them in two camps. But that's part political. That's not necessarily media. Those are just media wings of the political arms, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's a Comcast thing as much as it's a political thing. Jamal, that's 100% fair. X factor. Well, the reason I say that is when I have conversations, oftentimes libs tend to accrue more around information. Like, and that's just my experience. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way in the least. But when you listen to, like, for example, climate change, perfect example. The science on that is clear. Like, you may have a few people who doubt it, and, to be fair, I had agreed that there's no way to be 1,000% certain, but there's no negative in doing something about it. And yet, because this stuff becomes a political dog whistle of sorts, it's like the science doesn't exist. This is not a political issue. This is somewhat of a scientific issue. The political issue comes in what do you do about it? But it becomes a political issue of even acknowledging that the science on it exists. It's such a bizarre fucking thing. But this is something that's become a creature of the right. I could never see that happen. Oh, wow. My internet just shut off. No, I'm back. It just shut off. My internet just shut off. Just like, bing. We got a new internet connection here that we added specifically for the channel itself. So, Wincrow invested like $100 million into various shit in the past couple of weeks. What's Wincrow? I don't know what that is. It was hacks from Russia. I know, right? Blame the Russians. I guess this internet provider is a bit dainty too. Oh, dainty. He already said he can see my super chats. Stop trying to. Yeah, I know, right? I can see your super chats. And Zuggy got his ass kicked last time Zuggy got on the chessboard. I've been trying to break 1900, but I've been able to maintain myself in 1800. So, all right, we're dicking around. Katzenberg was the former Comcast head and now runs. Oh, I see. He gave $20 million to the TYT. I see. The Cold War ended when Hasselhoff sang "Looking for Freedom" at the Berlin Wall. I can't believe Jamarl is siding with Russia. I'm not siding with anybody per se. I'm siding with what I think is right. I'm siding with what I think is right. All right. If you guys enjoyed this content, you find yourself coming back here often. Probably often not at 3:30 in the morning. Please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.